Hello everyone. So let's start with the virus types. As I already briefed you about the virus, we have different viruses types. Okay, and in this video, I will discuss briefly about viruses types one by one. Okay, so we have very first one, systems or sector virus. So system or boot sector virus, it includes the MBR and DOS root record system sectors. So it is related to specific boot records with like master boot record and DOS boot records. And the boot sector viruses move MBR to another locations on the hard disk and copy itself to the original locations of MBR. Okay, and when the system boots, first the virus code executed and then control passes to the original MBR. Okay, so it means such viruses resides in the memory, and some sector viruses also spread through infected files, and these are known as multiparasite viruses. Okay, so what is happening here? If there is a virus, the virus will move your MBR master boot record to another location. And what would happen, as I already told about this, when the system boots up, so first it runs the virus code, and after that passes the control to the original MBR. Let's talk about the file viruses. So in file viruses, it infects the file and execute or interpreted in the system such as exe, sys, prg or bat files. Okay, file viruses insert their code into the original files and infect executable files. Suppose we have any exe files, suppose system.exe or let's take example of uh, any tool chrome.exe. Okay, and any specific document.exe, document.docs. So these are the kind of files. If you have a files and viruses insert their code into the original file, and that is known to the user because that original file is known to the user. And what virus did, virus infect that with executable file. See, I'm talking about here executable file. Executable file means that we can run. Okay, so before inserting their code into the program, there are some file viruses save the original instructions and allow the original program to execute so that everything appears normal. Let me show you an example here. What it's mean? Let me start paint. Yes. So what is its mean? Like if we have a file and virus infect that file, and it is a kind of applications, the software of billing. Okay, so it will be like after executing this application, it will be looks like as a billing software. User would not recognize the virus behind that. Okay, so what happen whenever the user execute this non application, so virus execute itself with that, and so it with that it looks like everything normal. I hope you got it now. Okay, so we have next is multi-parasite viruses. Let me remove this. Okay, so multi-parasite viruses are basically a combination of system boot sector viruses or file viruses. Okay, so here I mention in the statement it combines the approach of file infectors, boot record infectors, and attempt to simultaneously attack both the boot sector and the executable files. And when the virus infects the boot sector, it will in turn affect the system files via and vice versa. So I believe with this statement it looks more easier. We have MBR and file, right? So these kind of viruses infect MBR and executable files both. Okay, and with that your system is infected with viruses. Okay, I'm not giving you example here like the live practical example because it's CH exam. It's a completely I'm talking about the only written CH exam where you must have to understand only the concepts because it's not a simple thing to cover everything with practical and all this in this lecture. But yeah, of course for the practical when I will start the CH master exam, so I will share all the practicals and we'll use this theory over there. Okay, so it's better to us to understand first the concept, what is it exactly, and in practical labs we'll use this. So here let me remove here. Let's go to the next virus. What's that? Yep, now we'll talk about these three viruses: macroviruses, cluster viruses, stealth tunneling viruses. Okay, let's first start with macroviruses. So, the macroviruses are the viruses that infects the Microsoft Word or similar applications by automatically performing a sequence of actions after triggering to an application, right? And most macro viruses are written using macro language visual basics for applications, the VBA. So what would be the similar applications with Microsoft Word? It might be PowerPoint, it might be Microsoft Excel, it might be Notepad, Microsoft Word. It's automatically, yeah. And what happened actually in these viruses? There is a sequence of actions. Those are defined. Okay, they are sequence of applications, and most macroviruses are written using, there is a programming language, macro language, that is Visual Basics for application. Okay, let's talk more about this macroviruses. Okay, so here let me take an example of macroviruses are somewhat that less harmful than other viruses. They usually spread via email and pure data files and do not allow the spreading of viruses. Okay, let me show you example here. As we know, whenever we have a virus, it must be replicated through emails, right? So, and they replicate itself in the network, but it is less harmful. Usually, it does not replicate in the network. Okay, but sometimes the average users, due to the extensive micro language used in some programs, easily overlook the line between a data file and executable files. Okay, so for you, just you need to just remember for exam perspective, like here it is a Microsoft Word similar kind of application that automatically performing a sequence of actions after triggering an application. Okay, so this is the common thing that you have to remember. It's not necessary to read and remember all the things. There are few things those we need here. Okay, let's talk about this next one, cluster viruses. Okay, so cluster viruses infects the files without changing the file and planting additional files. They save the virus code to the hard drive and override the pointers in the directory entry. Okay, and directing the disk reads point to the virus code instead of actual program. First launches itself when any program start on the computer system, and control is then passed to the actual program. So it's again the same thing. In all the viruses type, you will get to know like this is the virus and this is the actual program. So whenever there is any execution of viruses and actual program, at first the viruses will be executed first and then the actual program. Okay, so in this case, in this case, what happened? Virus code is saved in the hard drives. Okay, and directing the disk reads point to the virus code instead of actual program. With that, what is happening? So it launches itself when any program starts on the computer system, and control is then passed to the actual program. Okay, so that's why it's a cluster viruses. One more thing, a cluster virus is something like it infects lead to severe problems if victim does not know its exact location. If it infects memory, it control access to the directory structures on the disk. Let me give you a simple example. If the victim boots from a clean USB pen drive and then run a utility, and the utility report a serious problem with the cross-linked file on the disk. Okay, and if the offer is accepted, the virus infects all the executable files and result in the loss of original content. and all file might appear to be on the same size. Like you have a different size, file size, 10 MB, 20 MB, 30 MB. So with that, what will happen? All the file sizes will be looks like 100 MB, okay, of same size. I know it's quite difficult to understand all the virus type, but yeah, you have to just remind few things. In this cluster viruses, let me make it easy for you. It infects the file without changing the file and planting additional file. Okay, without changing the file. It is not changing any file. It is, and without planting any additional file. What it is doing? This saves the virus code in the hard drive and override the pointer to directory entry, directing the discrete pointer to read this instead of actual program. That's it. The interesting thing is here there is nothing changed in the files. But here it infects the Microsoft Word or the similar applications. Then next is the stealth tunneling viruses. The stealth tunneling viruses are stealth viruses hides from the antivirus softwares by hiding the original size of the file or temporarily placing a copy of itself in some other drives. Okay, let me repeat it for you. The stealth viruses hide from antivirus. Suppose there is antivirus running here on your system and there is a virus, it's a stealth virus. It hides from the malware software. So obviously we have antivirus to scan these files, so it hides the software files from the scanning, right, and hide the original size of the file and temporarily placing copy of itself in some other system drives. We have C, D, E. Okay, it copies the file to another drives and thus replacing the infected file with the uninfected file that is stored on the hard drive. We have a infected file, so what here it will be done, the infected file will be replaced with the uninfected file. These viruses state false information to hide their presence from antivirus information, antivirus programs. Okay, so what happened here, this is the infected file, this is uninfected files. It will show it like, okay, this is the uninfected file, and this virus, stealth virus, already put the copy of its original, hide the original size, place a copy of some other drives. It's a kind of tricky one. Okay, so let's show me you here next options. Okay, next we have another options, the encryption viruses, sparse infector viruses, and polymorphic viruses. Okay, let's start with the introduction. Yeah, encryption viruses. See, name itself briefing about encryption viruses. So obviously these type of viruses consist of an encrypted copy of the virus and a decryption module. So here are two things. What are those? Encrypting copy of the virus and decrypting module. The the decryption module remains constant, whereas the encryption make use of different keys. Okay, let me describe it for you. Actually, the encryption keys consist of a decryption modules. Okay, an encrypted copy of the code which enciphers the virus. When the attacker injects the virus into the target machine, the decryptor first execute and decrypt the virus body. Then virus body execute and replicate or become resident in the target machine. You got it? Let me explain you again. So what happened here? Actually, the encryption keys. Okay, we have whereas the encryption keys, the different keys. Okay, we have the encryption keys. Okay, so encryption keys consist of decryption module. Here I already mentioned this type of viruses consist of encrypted copy of the virus and decryption. So encryption keys consist of decrypting modules and encrypted copy of the code. Encrypted copy of the code which enciphers the virus. Yeah. So what happened here when the attacker, this is the attacker, when attacker inject the viruses to a target machine, the decryptor, okay, this decryptor module first execute and decrypt the virus body. So virus is now decrypted. Then virus body this execute and execute, replicate and become the resident of this machine. Okay, so this is a little bit about the encryption viruses. Okay, so basically these type of virus scanners cannot detect the virus. So with that, virus scanner cannot decrypt the encryption virus using signatures, but it can detect the decryption modules. Okay, let's move to the next virus type, that is sparse infector viruses. So here, to spread the infections, virus typically attempt to hide from the antivirus programs. So it's very common. We have a system running with the AV, and AV is in the system to detect the viruses, of course, right? And quarantine or delete the viruses. So here, to spread the infection, viruses typically attempt to hide from antiviruses program, and sparse infector viruses infect less often and try to minimize their probability of discovery. These viruses infect only occasionally upon satisfying certain conditions. Okay, and the sparse infector virus work in two approaches. What are those? The first is replicate only occasionally. The second is determine which file to infect. Which file to infect based on certain conditions. Again, these are the sparse infector files viruses. Now we have another one, that is polymorphic viruses. Okay, so here the polymorphic viruses are able to modify their codes for each replication to avoid detection. Here, one thing I believe you have also noticed that here viruses are trying to avoid themselves from the detection from antiviruses. Right, this is the very first thing that you have to know. What are the different types of viruses that can hide themselves from the antiviruses? Second thing is, are they capable to replicate to another system or not? Third thing is, can they encrypt themselves or not, right, to hide themselves? Third thing is how to transfer viruses to the systems. There are three or four things that is common in the viruses, trojans, because these all are related to the malware. So that's why these things are very common, and you can easily explain based on these three or four topics. Okay, let's talk about this polymorphism. So here, this virus modify their codes for each replication. Okay, to avoid detection. They accomplish this by changing the encryption module and instruction sequence. Okay, these here we are using encryption. Polymorphic mechanisms use random number generators in their implementation. Okay, so polymorphic mechanism use random numbers generator in their implementation. So it consists of three components: virus, encrypted virus code, decryptor routine, and mutation engine. So it's a the basic introduction of this polymorphic viruses. Let's see if we have another examples. Yes, we have metamorphic viruses, companion viruses, and shell viruses. Let's see with one by one. Okay. So what is this metamorphic viruses? So interesting thing is it's a kind of new here. These metamorphic viruses rewrite themselves completely each time they infect a new executable files. Okay, we have number of executable files, and these rewrite themselves and each time when they infect new executable files. Okay, so such viruses are sophisticated and use the metamorphic engine for their execution. Metamorphic code reprogram itself. It is translated into temporary code and converted back to the original code. Next one is companion viruses. So these are the viruses stores itself with the same file name as the target program file. Yeah, of course, we have docs.exe. So these viruses will save these as docs.exe. Same file name as, on the as the target program files. And the viruses infect the computer upon executing the file. It modifies the hard disk data. Companion viruses use DOS to run COM files before the execution of exe. Okay, this is about the companion viruses. And next we have shell viruses. Shell virus code form a shell around a target host program codes, make itself the original program with the host code as its subroutine. Nearly all boot program viruses are shell viruses. let me explain a little bit more about this shell viruses. Like we can say before infections, it would be like this, and this is original program. So after infection, after virus, it would be like this is your original program and this is your virus. Okay, and nearly all boot program viruses are shell viruses. We discussed about this boot viruses, right? Okay, let's see for the next options. If we have, yep, we have file extension viruses, FAT viruses, and logic bomb viruses. Okay, great. Let's start with these three. So, file extension viruses, from name itself, file extensions, okay, like .txt or .docs, .exe, these all are the .pdf, .jpg, these all are the extensions. So file extension viruses change the extension of the files. Interesting. The extension .txt is safe as it indicates a pure text file. With the extension turned off, if someone send you a file name bad.txt.vbs, you will only see it bad.txt, and it's a script, Visual Basic script, and you will be in the problem. So this is a file extension viruses. Okay, let's talk about the FAT viruses. File allocation table. FAT is file allocation table. A FAT virus is a computer virus that attacks the FAT and a system used in Microsoft products, some other types of computer system to access the files stored on the computer. By attacking the FAT, a virus can cause several damage to the computer. Okay, I hope you are aware about these file allocation tables. Like this is a specific type of virus for this to attack this file allocation table. Okay, we have a logic bomb viruses. Logic bomb is a virus that is triggered by a response of an event. Like if something happened, if someone clicked on this, then it is a kind of incident, or you can say event, or something happened automatically. Okay, so logic bomb is a virus that triggered by a response of an event, such as launching of an application, or when a specific date and time is reached, where it involves logic to execute the trigger. Suppose there is a timer like 9 p.m. This once the 9 p.m. time is reachable, once the time is 9 p.m., then this virus executes itself because it's a kind of event that we have set, and it triggers that virus. These are the kind of logic bomb or time bomb, you can say. These are all the types. I believe we don't have any. Oh, I'm sorry. There is a use list. Let's talk about, yeah, we have more three viruses here. Might be more than three. Let's see. The web scripting viruses, email viruses. Yeah, it's a quite long topic, but it's better to understand the basic details of these type of viruses, right? Then in future I will think about to explain one and one these viruses in brief. Okay, I will plan for that, but for now, but not for now, because CH itself a big project, and I have a specific date to complete that. I believe this, the introduction of these viruses are enough for the exam. So we have here the interesting thing is web scripting viruses, email viruses, and armed viruses. Actually, from the name itself, it reflects what type of virus is, like the web script. Virus is a type of computer security vulnerabilities that breaches your web browser security through a websites. Okay, this allow attackers to inject client-side scripting into the web pages. It can bypass access control and steal information from the web browser. Okay, it's common. You have a browser like Chrome, you're using it, and there is a website www.example.com. Okay, it might be possible that virus come through this website and attacker inject the client-side scripting into the web pages of this. Okay. Next one is email viruses. Email refer to the computer code sent to you as an email attachments. When if activated will result some unexpected and usually harmful effects such as destroying specific files on your hard disk, causing the attachment to be emailed to everyone in your address book. Okay, these are the kind of email viruses. So whenever you receive an email and you got a file, don't just execute that. You have to, if you have a full trust, then at least make sure your system has an updated antivirus. Otherwise, you will be in problem. It happened with me, and my AV uh, protected me to that virus. Armed viruses. So from the name, it's a armored viruses. It's kind of armor. These are designed to confuse and trick deployed antivirus systems to protect them from detecting the actual source of infections. Okay, to protect from the actual source of infection. These viruses make it difficult for the antivirus to trace the actual source of the attack, and they trick the antivirus program by showing some other location even though they are actually on the system itself. Okay, so these are the armed viruses. Go ahead further. Okay, so that's all about the type of antiviruses. I have three more PPTs in the viruses. Let me, okay, what's the video time here? 38 minutes. Let's complete those three also. Yeah. Okay, so infect systems using antivirus, using virus, sorry. Infect systems using viruses. So how we can infect a system using? First, we need to create a virus, right? The next step is pack that virus with a binder or packager tools. Once it is packaged, send it to the victim machine through an email or any other medium like USB removal disk and any other method. Okay. Once the virus is transferred to the victim machine and the victim opens that and execute the received files which seem to be legitimate, and target system get infected. This is the process of infect systems using viruses. Virus examples are like the tools examples are virus maker, Terabyte virus maker, batch virus generator. These are the tools that we use propagating and deploying a virus. We have two types here, virus hoaxes and fake antiviruses. Okay, propagating and deploying virus hoaxes. These are a kind of false alarms claiming reports on the non-existent viruses, like Google Critical Security Alert Scam, WhatsApp Seismic Waves Card, McAfee virus, McAfee scan, sinister email. So these are the virus hoaxes. They are the kind of false alarm claiming reports on non-existing viruses, but these are the actually viruses. Now we have fake antiviruses. We have one term is antiviruses, like there must be a difference, like the fake antiviruses. It looks like the authentic, often encourage user to install it on their system and perform upgrade or remove viruses, other malicious programs. Okay, of course, if you have a fake antivirus, so that will uh, present itself as a genuine antivirus, like antivirus 10, AV Lab Internet Security, Smart Security PC Analyzer, and Live Protection Suite. These are the fake antiviruses. Okay, now, what is ransomware? As we all are aware about the ransomware nowadays, it's very common, and I believe you have heard about ransomware attack on an organization recently. So ransomware is a type of malware that restricts access to the computer files, folders, and demands ransom. Actually, it encrypts the stored files or hard disk, lock the system, and display a message with the instructions. If you want to encrypt that, if you want to decrypt that, if you won't need a decrypt key, you have to pay ransom in bitcoins or any encrypted currency. Ransomware is a process to how to infect the system. First, you need to create a ransomware using tools. Transfer the ransomware to the victim machine. Ransomware is a virus. You can say malware. Okay, Trojan. Victim downloads. I believe ransomware. It comes in the malware, but it does not come in the Trojan category. But Trojan might help you to transfer ransomware or achieve the ransomware. Infect systems by encrypting the system files. After infections, a window appears instructing the victim to pay ransomware for decrypting files. Okay, so we have computer worms. Yep. So worm is actually the part of viruses, and these are the kind of malicious programs that replicate independently, execute and spread across the network connections without human interaction. Okay, it's a very interesting thing, then the difference between the worms and the viruses. that we need to know here. Okay, these replicates independently and execute and spread across the network without human interactions. Attackers use worm payloads to install backdoor in infected systems, which turns them into the zombies or create a botnet. Or these botnets can be used to perform further cyber attacks. We have different types of computer worms, like we have SSH Snake, Raspberry Pi Robin, or P2P Infect. The process to infect systems is first is create a worm, deploy a worm, user clicks and worm infects the systems, worm scans the other infected system and it exfiltrates data from the infected systems. So the interesting thing is how it is different from a virus. Worm replicates itself by own and it's spread through the network, okay, without human interactions. So virus might delete and alter the content of files and worm does not modify any stored program. It only exploits the CPU and memory. Viruses are difficult to remove from the infected machines. But as compared to the virus, worms can be removed easily from the system. Worm maker tools are like internet worm maker thing. This is the tool. Okay, so that's it for the session related to the virus. If you need this PPT, you can send me an email. I will share with you guys. And if I don't recognize that, you can post your update on the comment. Whenever I will see, I will share this with you. As I promised, there are number of things here in the virus types. Once I have the time, I'll prepare the videos on one by one viruses, how it works, how exactly it can infect the system with the examples, with more theory part. I hope you enjoyed it for and it will surely help you with your CEH exam. And if you need something, if you have any question, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day and good night for all the upcoming hackers. See you.